All right, so project quick flip. I put it all back together, and now we're gonna try to run it. All right, good deal. We're in. So the rest of this video is the reassembly process, as well as how to tension the belts correctly, and I'll show how to use a 3D tool to do that. So stay tuned. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Guys with Rides YouTube channel. I'm Rudy Samsell, the co-founder of Guys with Rides, the trusted dealer-free resource for classic and collector car enthusiasts like you and me. Behind me is Project Quick Flip, our 1989 Porsche 944 Turbo. If you've been following along, I've spent the better part of the past week starting to do a major service on the car. That includes the timing belt, the balance shaft belts, and the water pump behind them. This first section shows how to install the new water pump. There you see, so what I'm doing here is putting the new water pump on the 3 studs, and then once it's fitted in, I adjust my torque wrench. See, I've already put the bolts in, and I'm torquing them, and as I torque them, I mark them with a marker so I know I've already done everything. And this one, I only went to the correct torque. The next piece was to reinstall the timing belt back cover. And I first cleaned it with my degreasing tub, and then this goes on, as you see in the video here. There are 2 long bolts, 10 millimeter, that are towards the bottom by the crank pulley. You see me turning the one. Next, I installed the timing belt idler pulley. Here I am putting it back in. I believe this is a new one. I'm hand tightening it, the bolt, and then that's a 17 millimeter, and I'm torquing it to 33 foot-pounds. With the idle sprocket in, you see me threading the timing belt around the crankshaft pulley and around the water pump up in the left-hand corner. Now I'm threading it up through this top shot around the camshaft sprocket. The engine is still locked at this point. It's the slow process of threading everything and ensuring that the camshaft tab is lined up with the mark on the housing. The next step was to install the timing belt tensioner. So if you recall from the last video, there are 3 studs coming out of the block that you need to fit this onto. However, first I need to thread the idler cog properly into the timing belt, and that's what you see me doing next to the crankshaft here. I make sure that's in the proper orientation because the timing belt kind of goes through the idler. And once I'm happy with that and I pull up the slack, you can see that it's actually on. Well, my hands are out of the shot here, but it is on the stud here, right where my hand is there. And now I'm threading the 13 millimeter bolts on the 3 studs. Once I have them in place, I use my socket to hand tighten them. Here I am using the 13 millimeter, and here's the shot where I'm actually torquing those 3 bolts to the 33 foot-pounds. Next, I installed the securing clip. Make sure this is in the correct orientation. And these are 2 10 millimeter bolts. And tighten them, and then I correctly put them to 7.5 foot-pounds for those 2 bolts. This section shows how to use the Carpokes 3D tool to tension the timing belt. Here you see me putting in the timing belt tool connected to my 3/8 torque wrench. And now I'm loosening the adjusting nut on the tensioner And when the torque wrench clicks, then I know it's tension and I tighten it down. This next section shows me putting on the balance shaft pulley and the crankshaft pulley. Now, the balance shaft pulley was already put on, and now once that's on, I'm putting in the 4 cap screws on for the AC pulley, and then torquing them to the correct specification. Next up is the power steering pulley and the 24 millimeter bolt. So here I am using the 24 millimeter deep wall socket. Get the bolt back in. A little tricky. But once I got it in there, I hand tightened it. And now here you see me torquing it to 210 Newton meters or 155 foot-pounds. Keep in mind that the flywheel lock put in over in the starter is still in place at this point. Next up was installing the balance shaft belt and related pulleys. You'll need to note that these pulleys have 2 keyways in them. One keyway is sized to fit onto the shaft, while the other keyway, which is narrower, is for that outside pulley cover that goes on. Once you have that, you use the special tool to hold the pulley in place while you tighten down the bolt and torque it properly. Also note the white paint on the rear timing cover is lined up with that. Now I'm putting the lower one on for the lower balance shaft. Similar process, but it's the opposite. You need to make sure you have got the right keyways in the right place. This one I had to tap in a little bit. And then similarly, you hold it with a special wrench, tighten the bolt, and torque it to the spec. Once that's torqued down, you want to make sure it's oriented properly. The tab goes against the cover. Now I'm putting the idler sprocket on. However, I later had to pull that off to get the belt on, and you'll see why. There, I'm putting the bolt on for the idler pulley there, or the tensioner pulley, excuse me. And now I'm threading the belt, the balance shaft belt, first around the crank. And you can see the tolerance between that idler pulley. Well, now that's the tensioner, but the idler pulley is very narrow. Now I've got my orientation. So I literally ended up taking that off so I could thread the belt properly. And then once I knew it was routed properly, I could put the belt on. This one is a bit of a loose fit. Now I used a screwdriver to pry it onto the top balance shaft. And then I tensioned it. Does not have to be really tight. I use the 90-degree rule on this, where I could turn the belt with my 2 fingers 90 degrees, and that should be suitable for it. It's difficult to see in this shot, but I was actually using a 0.5 millimeter feeler gauge between the idler sprocket and the belt to ensure I had the correct gaps. There you go. And then once I knew I had the correct gap, I tightened everything down. Once I was satisfied everything's in place, you see me starting to use my big breaker bar, but I ended up using a 1/2-inch drive socket to rotate the engine twice to make sure I didn't hear any funny noises or anything. You see the white mark slowly going around. That's 1 revolution. I still have the spark plugs in place, so there was a little bit of effort here, but you can turn the engine with that. Next were the cam covers. The first one is the actual cam aluminum cover. And there's a couple of guide pins in this. And you see them fitting it over that. And then this is held on with 3 10-millimeter bolts. One at the top side and the other down below. These are torqued to 7.5 foot-pounds. There, I'm threading it. There are the two hidden ones that the plastic cover actually hides when I put that on next. Here I am torquing them and marking them that they're torqued. With the cam cover in place, now it was a matter of putting in the two plastic timing belt and balance shaft belt covers. These are all 10 millimeter bolts. You don't want to over tighten these. 7.5 is more than, foot-pounds is more than enough, because you don't want to be cracking the plastic. At a minimum, please press the like button. If you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps the YouTube algorithm spread this channel to other enthusiasts to get the word out about what I'm doing with Guys with Rides. And if you haven't done so, I encourage you to check out my main website, guyswithrides.com, or the marketplace, guyswithrides.bid. Next up are reinstalling the AC and power steering belts. These are reinstalling the turnbuckles if you didn't loosen them. That was the case on the power steering bracket you see me monkeying with right now. Trying to get that into place and then retightening everything. Use my persuader to get everything back in place. Once I had the power steering pump in place, belt in place, I moved on to the AC belt, and here I am turning the turnbuckle with a combination of 17 and 19 millimeters to get the belt tightened up. And the next step in the process is to reinstall the cooling fans, otherwise known as the scoop. Here you see me, they're in place behind the radiator. I'm getting them aligned up to the bolts. I'm reinstalling the electrical connections. And once I'm satisfied everything's in the right place and the clips are back in their supports, it was just a matter of tightening down the 6 screws that hold that into place. Next up is the bracket, otherwise known as the coolant manifold on the turbo models. That's what's in my hand right now. You first have to wedge it into place. This is what took up the most time. You can see me finagling, trying to get everything moved to try and move this in place. It's held on either side of the fender frames with 4 13 millimeter bolts, but then there's 5 coolant line connections of various sizes you need to reconnect on that manifold. And that's what I'm trying to illustrate there. So this is arguably the longest process, trying to get this in place and get everything tightened up properly. Next up is the installation of the rotor and distributor cap. First you have to put the cover on and turn it from the notch to make sure it's held in place. You line up the rotor. I'm putting on a new one in this shot. And then I'm inserting the T20 torque screw and tightening that up. Next, I installed the intercooler hoses. And you're seeing this top shot. A little out of sequence because you see the air box is already in. And I put these in and tighten the clamps down. There's the secondary one. Finally, it's a matter of reinstalling the air box mass sensor. So that's what you see me doing here. Everything back in place. Now was the time to test by starting the car. All right. Good deal. We're in. So now it's just a matter of flushing and filling the coolant. We'll take it from there. So this is November 26th, Wednesday before Thanksgiving 2025. Tuesday, I got everything back together and actually got the car started. That was after having the battery off for approximately a week. When I went to go start the car, the alarm was going off. Long story short, you have to put the key in the door, lock it, then unlock it, and it was fine. As soon as I did that, car started right up. Once I decided that everything was working properly, no funny noises, no interference, broken valves, because this is an interference motor, went ahead and started filling the cooling system. This table has no parts save for one. When I did go to fill the system, this little part here, which if you have a non-turbo model and you buy a water pump for these cars, you get a block-off plate, is my understanding. But this is a turbo, so the intercooler uses this little mini thermostat. The one that came with the new water pump I put on and connected it to the hose, and we're getting a leak behind here, which indicates the O-ring. So had to drain the coolant again. And so the only parts on this table now, you watch my last videos, there were all the parts needed to take off this car. The only parts here now are the radiator drain cap. We had to re-drain the fluid so that it would stop leaking, because it would have all leaked out overnight, and this part. So we're about to take this apart and fix the leak, and the car will be ready. Thanks for watching this video. Please press the like and subscribe button, comment below, and be sure to check out our other videos on this subject, as well as all the great content on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number listed below, or be sure to check out our main website, guyswithrides.com.